All right, well, here we are. So here I am, day off number two. I'm lucky enough, fortunate enough to get 2 days off consecutively. So there's gratitude for that. And being that I'm in the midst of just, thinking, living in the brain here, in the brain space, I like to call it. Because, personally, I couldn't verify that there's anything between the ears. But aside from that, day 21. What's up, Shade? Bass girl, never bass. Because suddenly I will think of fish. Then, if I think of fish, I'll want sushi. And then it just goes on and on from there. Chronic Chronicles to everybody and Mr. President and the formal Sean. Okay, now that's it for the hellos and the Shabbat Shaloms. Kenneth, oh, damn, bro. Man, OG. Dude, I am kind of locked out of my main Facebook account. So you're going to see me on. Hey, Sean, holy hibbity dibbity, and Queen Survivor. Sean, I will be reaching you post haste about, there is an individual that's taken interest in the Jamie Valdez case. Hashtag find Jamie Valdez. And just she has some questions. I'll forward them, or I'll try to answer them for myself. But okay, let me stick to the topic at hand because I know easily I'll just go off of a whirlwind and get off topic. So that was awesome. Oh my God. Let's do that again. I hope you guys heard that. Let's make sure that doesn't happen again. Okay. So, life full of the unexpected. Jesus H. So, yeah. Bass. I know. Bass girl. All right. Hey, Ajot. Summer Breeze. Okay. That's enough of that. So, today, day 21, I've been just thinking about, the things that used to used to bug me and the things that I see very easily and understandably bugging other people and content creators and YouTubers. I really think that we're on to something in this whole speculation with social media, mass media, impacting the psychology of the human condition. We're all just thinking differently and acting differently as a species as a direct result of the internet and everything. Thank you. Fiddle DD, thank you, and Sweepy. Wow, okay. I didn't expect to get this pack this quick. So, okay, here is what's personally helping me. And I'm remember, I am only sharing observations, opinions, and speculation. I'm not, please don't misinterpret my sharing as a complaint. This is empowering, and I want it to come off as empowering. So, what I mean to explain is when I hear things like, "Hey, look, somebody is using your not your YouTube, your email and fake emailing this person, that person to discredit blah blah blah." Okay, when last night I was chilling in a buddy's chat. That's what's up to C-Files, and some people, the people do what people go people. Trolls go troll. It's all gravy, and I hate that I even mention it. It doesn't. There's no specific names. It's not to give him power, but I just, if anything, I hope it comes across as how just time is precious. Life is a precious thing, and the people that choose to waste their time, they're wasting their own and themselves. And I'm bringing this all up because today, with the time I've had, I have been watching some documentaries and whatnot before I go out. I do have a meeting at 6 p.m. today, but I was looking into the story. A great foreign film. It takes place in Norway, and it's about World War II. It's a true story. It's called The 12th Man. It's all in German. I like foreign films. And it's this crazy, crazy real life story about a man, what is his name? Jan Burlstein. Okay, he is a Norwegian hero. He got the highest prestigious award from the Queen during the occupation by the Nazis. He was amongst a team of 12 individuals sent on a secret mission, and everybody was killed except him. He survived. He survived, I think, almost 60 days. He survived an avalanche. He survived starvation, gangrene. This man did everything possible to ensure his own survival. What was beautiful is the people that helped him. that knew it was under the threat of punishment, which meant being ended. People came together as a resistance and ensured this man with basically one foot, gangrene, and being sick, would survive because he understood that his mission, his purpose, his his succeeding in this mission was more. It wasn't about just him anymore. It was about something greater, a legacy to make sure his comrades, his 11 friends that died or were executed, it didn't all happen in vain. And yes, life is for living, as Sweet Pea said. Jan is pronounced yarn. Oh, yeah, if you're familiar with that, thank you. Yarn Burlstein. So just watching this man, like there's so many like and the true story that this is, it's on Amazon Prime, IFC Unlimited. It's just inspiring. It's when you get sober, your emotions are all strong and you start to feel things again. By God, this actor portrayed madness and the will to survive so powerfully that I almost found myself getting chills. So this man was in a cabin for 16 days with he had to remove two of his toes, and he had no other company than one bottle of booze, a knife, and his own mind. And he just persevered. He thought of the people that helped him. He thought of the bigger mission at hand. He thought of everything possible to give him the strength and sustenance to continue to keep on keeping on. He found a greater purpose. And that greater purpose was not just for his own self-preservation. It was I guess he kind of became a symbol of the effort of goodness. I don't know. I mean, clearly, one's own first thought or instinct is to survive, but there were many moments where this man did not want to be alive, and he would push forward. So it was very inspiring. The man survived an avalanche when a German plane was shooting at him as he was running down a mountain or skiing. This man survived just the most insurmountable odds, and the human spirit persevered. He also lived under just a large stone for about 12 nights, and he was covered in snow, and still managed to survive. So, if that doesn't move the human soul, I don't know what can or what will. And now I'm definitely not going to finish this one. I've got too much to do in the day, and my meeting is going to be in a couple hours. But, and the movie is called The 12th Man, by the way. Watching a B movie Christmas horror, you can't go wrong with that. Hey, Frankie, good to see you. What is the okay? And so I take into consideration what that man had to go through to survive. That was World War II. He died in 1988, and he requested to go and be buried back in Norway, where the people, the community that came together to help ensure his survival, where they were at rest. So it was very poetic. And now, so there's this 4-hour documentary, and I'm only gonna watch 1 hour of it. It's called Shoah: The First Era. I'm a movie buff, okay? It's a Holocaust survivor tale, and it's pretty intense. Out of 400,000 Jews that were unalived in vans with gas apparatuses inside, two two people survived out of 400,000. And this is footage that has been archived and restored, and the resolution is impressive. You can tell it's old, but it's definitely it's incredible. Even the opening sequence that gives you the context and feedback about the two survivors that I am learning about right now. I forget their names. Very very Israeli Jewish. I would not even pronounce them correctly. But when you hear the tale of, say, this boy, he was known as something like the singing Jew. Basically, he was, I forget how old. He started at, like, he watched his father get gunned down in a Jewish ghetto in Lotz. He was like 4 years old, and all the way to 12 years old, he survived out of 400,000. Him and one other. He survived with his agility. The SS would make the chained up children uh, do all these gymnastics and pit them against one another and jumping contests, apparently. And he became not only also he rode a lot and was in charge of tending to the dead. Tending I have severe 9-1. Well, I was also diagnosed with I will get back on this, but I was diagnosed with GAD, generalized anxiety disorder, back when I was 19 years old. I am 38. I don't feel the anxiety anywhere near when I did, when anxiety dictated my every move and every whim. And the anxiety, because I couldn't beat it and it would beat me, would create a depression. And then the depression would go ahead and in turn create more anxiety. And it was just the devilish yin and yang, the negative yin and yang. There was no balance. It was just misery. And through self-preservation and wanting to be better and feel better, and learning to cope, it's not something that's always conquered, even though I'll find myself saying I conquered anxiety. It's always there, and we just have to learn and seek help and accept help. And also putting things in perspective. When I learn the stories of what other human beings have experienced in our own survival and history, I'm able to think, my goodness, my God, look at what this individual, this human being has gone through and survived it all until their final resting day and got to go in peace in their bed. And then I start thinking about the problems I have, and hey, Scuba Sam, hello. And I just start thinking, wow, you know what? I don't think me feeling anxious right now, and I know it, I hope it doesn't come off selfish. It's a powerful thing when we feel it. It's our reality, it becomes our entire world. We become obsessed with our own suffering because all we know is that suffering. So, what more can the mind do with it, right? So, it helps to learn about other people suffering and getting through it despite everything, personally for me. So the story, I'm watching a 4-hour documentary. I'm not finishing it. Not in the slightest. Not today. But this child survived throughout the entire war because he was able to sing. He learned from the Prussian military the songs of the soldiers. And when he would row, he had to sing while his people were being massacred and set ablaze and on fire in the forests of Lithuania. And they brought this man 47 years after to the places where he watched his people and his family get burned, and he had to sort through their bodies, and he chose to sing. Apparently he was known to be a talented singer, the soldiers and the civilians alike, and the victims learn to appreciate his singing voice. The documentary begins with the context and his singing. He's being rowed through a lake, or excuse me, or a river, and you hear him at 47 years old singing, and you can hear a lot of emotion in the song, describing a pretty white house and happiness in that house, and seeing through welled up tears and all that. And this human being, this man, was able to traverse and survive and get through the most heinous acts of humankind. Something I'll never forget. I think, for one, when I was in high school, I got to meet one Holocaust survivor with the serial number tattooed on his arm. I remember the response of my entire high school. Like, one of my buddies got up and asked a question. They brought the microphone. He's like, "Can I see the tattoo?" He went up on stage just to touch the tattoo and look at it. That's the curiosity of a teenager. And you guys may be familiar with the Time magazine, of the sailor kissing the nurse, right? That was after the war, and it's a very popular picture. It's in museums. I got to meet that sailor. The very sailor in that picture came to my high school and sat in my social studies class and told us all the story of how he how he ended up there, and everything that happened. I guess since we're on the topic and I'm ranting away, I like a fiend and lunatic because this is my catharsis. This is how I realize things are not as bad as I may ever think when I find myself feeling low. And it's not that I was feeling low, I just felt that I wanted to share. And it's empowering to know that somebody hears you or connects. The guy, he just got off the boat. He didn't know that nurse. It was a total random moment. There was a photographer there. The universe just clicked that day. He was just so overwhelmed with joy. He grabbed the first woman he saw, which was that nurse, kissed her, and boom, photographer was there. He had no idea, and I got to meet him in my class. I didn't shake his hand or anything, but how awesome is that? So, okay, now back to perspective here. And the thing that I was originally going to say that I never forgot, but my thoughts happen a little too fast sometimes, is in one of the death camps, the words inscribed into a wall where there were basically no survivors is a Jewish man that was probably, you know, ended. He carved into the wall, if there is a God, he will have to beg for my forgiveness, something to that effect. When I think about how low one must feel to say words like that from their soul, it really helps me put in perspective. Yeah, you see, look, like whatever the messages are from this right here, I don't give a shit. It's hilarious and it's sad. What? No, it's cool, bro. You watch the Megan? No, I can't say I have. I appreciate that you're coming by and all that. Cool, bro. I hope you find something greater to do with your time because time is precious. It should not be wasted. And if you're gonna go on your if this is some sort of a Holocaust denial thing, you have more issues you need to resolve with yourself, or go ahead and look into everything documented and that's factual. I had the rare this is on Stuck in the Middle. This is on the show that I did for 3 years with Josh. I got to have a debate with a Holocaust denier. You know what his evidence was for Holocaust denial? Oh man, I didn't think I'd be going here. Hey, Heather B, you haven't seen a little bit. Pooh, aka DJ Bricks, man. I hope you're good. I hope you're well. My heart is your heart. Um, he showed picture. He requested that Josh and I and our host at the time, Adam, pull up pictures, and he, this dude, he got drunk, so it didn't help that he started getting very colorful with his language. The episode's still up. It was the first conspiracy episode we ever did over at Stuck in the Middle Studios, and he said, "Look at the cracks in the windows." Now these were photographs that were taken modern day, like 2019. It was before the pandemic, so 2019 or something, early 2020. We started Stuck in the Middle before Trump became president. But yeah, he said, look at the cracks. So it's impossible that the gas could be contained inside of these chambers. And I couldn't believe myself. And this was before I was like more polished and confident in my own speaking. I couldn't believe my ears. And I laughed in his face. And I said, you do understand that the foundation and the photographs we're looking at are, very old, from the 1940s. And you're talking about how there's cracks in 2019, 2020. You do realize those are natural cracks that are formed. Because his whole argument is the gas would have escaped, they wouldn't have died. So that didn't go and pan out well for that fella over there at that time. And there was some moments where he was picking on specific, like, Hasidic Jews, the more traditional Jewish people, and talking about, I don't know, I guess we could call them conspiracies, or I am not Jewish enough to give facts about stuff when it comes to the traditions. I only learned as much as I did within the neighborhoods and the families that I have, or I'm a part of and that I'm in. I was always more familiar with the Catholic Church. I was raised by both, the Jewish side of my family, some of which converted, and then the Colombian side, which is 100% Catholic. I had an amazing debate with my nearly 80-year-old mother this morning about the Virgin Mary, as a matter of fact. But wherever that was all going, just yeah. So 2991. I'm sorry that I don't see your name at the moment. The perspective, remembering what people like us, not unlike you and me and every other human being that we ever feel anxious around, that we ever feel is judging us secretly, or is nefariously plotting against us, or talking smack and whispering in somebody's ear. I think about people that have survived, survivors. They give me the strength, and I honor I honor their memory by being stronger for my grandma who helped raise me, for every friend that didn't beat the battle of addiction. I didn't beat it. I still take Suboxone. People will condemn me for sharing that or just taking the small little strips that I do. It's merely microscopic, but I'm not gonna delegitimize it. Yes, I take Suboxone. It's helping me, although it should come to an end. I think 12 years is long enough, and I'm sure you would agree. And there you go. I'm a survivor of RNDV. I'm not sure what the acronym is for, but we're all survivors, and I think as fellow survivors, we acknowledge that we're fighters. We're gladiators of this spiritual or psychological battle that we're all in. Okay, we must acknowledge and give ourselves the credit for just that, for getting through the day. It's not easy. It is not easy to get up day to day, even especially when you're in the throes of depression or anxiety or whatever it is, bipolar. There's so many different diagnoses out there. What's up, Live Freedom? Um, it's not an easy thing. It takes courage, it takes willpower, and we do have a natural instinct to want to live. And there are just so many before us that had every reason not to and to give up, and they didn't. And that inspires me to not let the outside external stressors, what's up, Indy? The external stressors, the toxic individuals that exist out there anywhere in the world, bothering my friends or even strangers or people that I've never connected with, and I watch on YouTube and I see them suffering. I just think it's so small in the grand scheme, in the grand picture, and it doesn't matter. And we need to also recognize there is a disconnection that we're not aware it's there, and we have to sometimes hit a switch to remember it. What happens behind that camera, in this screen, and in this world, okay, in the grand land of the internets, they're not as damn big and important as we tend to assume they are. We give it power. We give it almost more power over us. We go from using the internet to the internet using us. And that's when we start falling short. That's where I was numbing myself with alcohol for years, and then for the 3 months that I was doing this every day, every night, I was numbing myself from the toxicity that was absolutely getting to me, and I was punishing myself. I wasn't hurting them. I was hurting myself. So the more that you show that it gets to you, this is general advice to anybody trying to do something. The more that you enable, that you show your tormentors that you are in fact tormented, you enable them and you're giving them that life raft that they need to know that they're going to keep on keeping on and they're going to keep on digging into you. Just know there is a disconnection and you got to hit that switch and realize it's a world out of your control. It's a world that and that should be liberating. It's one less thing you have to do. Acknowledge you do not have to give a flying fuck about what one single person or group of people think, say, or do in regards to your life and what you're doing, separated from this little reality in this fucking box. What's in here is only as real as you allow it to be, and that's the power of perspective. The connections I've made with the amazing people through this platform, that's real. The bullshit toxicity and whatever, fake accounts and comments, blah blah, that has no power. It's not real. It's only real if you allow it to impact you. And these things can also apply to your everyday anxieties and your depression or your 9 to 5 job where you're feeling like you're a wasted shell of a human being. Trust me, I get it. And that's why sometimes I'll force a little mania on me and I'll try to be like a stand-up comic at my job, and I'll be random and people will feed off of that energy. So just recognize how much power you actually have so you don't feel powerless and then waste away one day at a time. We got this one shot, as far as we know, unless anybody has knowledge, greater knowledge of the afterlife than I do. We got this one fucking shot here. This one life to live on this speck of a rock, floating in infinite space. Are we going to let some bullshit get to us in our grand mission, which is whatever you choose it to be, and empower it and march forward and just It's not even making something of yourself. It's just being proud and knowing that I have some family members that are proud of what I am trying to do, and other people that have reached out and shared in that pride. It gives me pride that I feel is worthy of me actually saying, like, without, pride becomes comes before the fall or anything like that. It's a special sacred pride that I feel is deserved. It's nothing nefarious or selfish. So yeah, I think that's a gratitude as a community that we can all share. Now I'm going to randomly 9-1. I truly hope that some of these words, hit you in the soul. Okay, I call it a good little soul punch to the soul groin. All right, because it hits hard. We forget so often when we're in our own mind, punishing ourselves because we're kind of hardwired to do that, and we're in a time where the psychiatrists in this first world country, they get to already have the mainstream advertise our own cures to us through the talking box. So we go to them asking for the cures that the people that profit off of them uh, tell us to, instead of the other way around, like other first world countries where the doctors that care tell us what would help us most. So we got a little backwards here, which is why every moment of clear thinking is so special. So here's a topic. Are all professional, but I couldn't do it because of fear, like the black sheep of the family. When it comes to being a black sheep, that's not something that I was that when I was a junkie for 10 years. But that can give you just a little bit of slack to learn more things about yourself outside of the confines of being in a family unit. Although I would recommend, finding a way to re-embrace the family so you in turn can feel what it's like to be embraced. But that comes with learning to fall in love with yourself again, because anybody going through pain has forgotten how to love themselves. And that is something you'll be taught in like any recovery classroom. It's okay to be selfish when it comes to your own sanity or well-being or sobriety, to take that time for yourself and to heal, and in turn you will heal others around you. I don't think this. I'll save this topic for another time. This has been a very mental health focused thing. Hold on, I'm going to check a little something to make sure this is a legit individual. I don't even care. It is what it is. I'll find out later. But I did get this article handed to me by somebody that knows I love this kind of stuff. And in the state of Florida, we got a kind of reverse Robin Hood thing going on, which is basically all of the proceeds and profits that are given and earned by the Florida Lotto. The money's obtained and the profits when they go to any charities, it's been discovered by some people with the clarity to do some research, to follow the money, follow the breadcrumbs, that they're going to more affluent schools and neighborhoods and giving kids that would already easily get into, say, a college with a scholarship. If without a scholarship, they're the ones getting the money, and the poorer communities, the ones that actually spend the most and put the most money into the lottery, uh, none of the money is going to the poorer communities, which I would consider to be more of a working class. So that's enough to piss me off and make me do a whole fucking live about this one topic that's in the paper here, because this drives me wild. It's another example of the profits and the power going to the people that need it the least. And that's by design. It ain't no mistake. That's something I'll get to in the future, perhaps after my meeting. Who knows what the night will bring? And that used to scare me years and years and years ago, the unknown, fear of the unknown. But you should let the unknown be something to excite you and to light a fire within. Because hell, if we knew everything and expected everything, just like we can't do well with too long of a trial of peacetime, we need conflict in our lives. We need problems to solve. We need questions that need answering. So if everything were just calm and steady, we would die of boredom. We need stimulation, and not always, snowflakes, rainbows, and butterflies and unicorn dicks or anything. Sometimes we need that little extra. It's got to be something that we will overcome, and that gives us purpose. 9-1, if this reached you or anybody else, the message that I'm trying to put forward, I am grateful that I had the time and that I hit that live button before. Before I hit that live button, I do get a little bit of a smidgen of anxiety, even though I claim to have been able to learn how to conquer it. But remember how I started this whole thing, remembering our ancestors, our one race, the human race, our own ancestors, the people that came before us, have suffered fates worse than death and have learned to survive. Hey, Freya, pleasure and honor to see you in the live. So that's it. This has, to me, been cathartic to share my feelings, and all it took was just a little spark of feeling the need or want to be educated and to learn of the stories of old. Just if ever you find yourself down, go ahead and do a little bit of research or stimulate the mind and learn what the power of the human will. Our willpower is greater than any nuke, unless we're talking literally, but I'm serious. If you feel ever at your lowest, recognize the potential at trying to climb that mountain, and you'll find your peak. Hopefully, not too soon, though, because we need a mountain to climb. Know what I mean? All right, that's it for now. But as a Patriot out. Take care, guys.